Hello all. Today we will solve problem set 10. Let's start with the first question. We already know about this. We already covered this in problem set 7, but it will be a review. So option 1 asks us to write down how we can calculate the unemployment rate and labor participation rate. We use the formula when we calculate the unemployment rate. The formula is number of unemployed people divided by labor force times 100. What was the labor force? What labor force was equal to number of unemployed and employed people. So when we calculate the labor force participation rate, we divide labor force by working age population and multiply it with 100. The second option asks us what are the types of unemployment. So we have three types of unemployment. The first one is frictional unemployment. It is short-term unemployment that arises from the process of matching workers with job. For example, if I quit my job to find a better job, it is frictional unemployment. And the second type of unemployment is structural unemployment. It arises from a persistent mismatch between the skills and attributes of workers and requirements of jobs. If my skills don't fulfill the job requirements, and that's why I'm removed from the job, it is structural unemployment. And the last type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment. It arises from business cycle recessions. If there is a recession, which means a decline in the economic activity, and that's why I'm removed from the job, it is cyclical unemployment. And what is the natural rate of unemployment? Cyclical unemployment is not natural unemployment. So when we calculate the natural rate of unemployment, we just sum up the number of frictional unemployed and structural unemployed people. And define inflation and deflation. Inflation, you already know, a persistent rise in the general level of prices, and deflation is the opposite of it, a decline in the price level. What price indicators can be used in order to measure inflation? GDP deflator, CPI, and PPI. We use GDP deflator and CPI while calculating inflation in problem set 7. We will again use the CPI to calculate inflation in the question second question. But if you don't remember, you can check the problem set 7. Why do people dislike inflation? Because when there's an inflation, your purchasing power declines. Let's look at the second question. So it gives us a table that contains the information of CPIs over the years 2000 to 2007. So let me show you how we calculate inflation when we use CPIs. I will show you the formula if you don't remember. So we use this formula when we want to calculate inflation using CPI. So it asks us to calculate inflation for 2001. So how we do it, let me use pen. So we will calculate inflation for 2001 while using, I'm sorry for the bad writing, CPI of 2001 minus CPI of 2000 this divided by CPI of 2000. It's very ugly. I'm very sorry about that. So CPI of 2001 was 75, and 2000 CPI is equal to 50. So we subtract 50 out of 75, and we will divide it by 50 again and multiply it with 100 because there is a this. And so we found that it is 50% inflation for 2001. And again, inflation for 2005, we use 2004 and 5's CPIs. So it is 185 and 165. So we subtract, let me show you. There is a problem with my computer, that's why I'm showing you like this. I hope it's as clear. So we subtract 2004's CPI out of 2005 CPI and divide it by 2004 CPI and multiply it with 100, so it is equal to 12.12%. We use this formula. So the option B asks us, can you determine which year is the base year? We know the information that base year CPI is always equal to 100. So if you look at the table, 2002's CPI is equal to 100. So we can say that 2002 is the base year. For the option C, it says that change the base year of the index to 2006. If 2006 is the base year, its CPI will be equal to 100, so it says that. And compute the index values for years 2000 and 2001 accordingly. So we have the information of the CPIs in years 2000 to 2007, but the CPI is calculated when the base year is 2002. So option C asks us to change the base year to 2006. How we can use these CPIs and find a new CPI of 2000 when the base year is 2006. So I wrote it in here to make it more clear. Let me use my pen. So when 2006 is the base year, the CPI of 2000 will be equal to CPI of 2000 when the base year is 2002 divided by CPI of 2006 when the base year 2002 multiplied with 100. Why? Because if we wrote it this formula more clearly, CPI of 2000 will be equal to this, which is the prices of the goods in 2000 times quantity of the goods in 2002 divided by price of the goods in 2002 times quantity of the goods in 2002, because base year is 2002. And for CPI of 2006 when the base year is 2002 will be equal to this, which is prices of the goods in 2006 times quantity of the goods in 2002 divided by prices of the goods in 2002 times quantity of the goods in 2002, and we divide them to each other, and this quantity of the goods in 2002 will cancel out this. Why? If you don't understand, let me show you like this. So let me. They will cancel each other because we can write this like this. I put multiply sign and I replace the denominator and numerator. There was a this sign before, so they will cancel each other, this and this and this and this. So we just have price of the goods in 2000 divided by price of the goods in 2006. And if you calculate CPI when the base year is 2006, it is equal to price of goods in 2000 times quantity of the goods in 2000 divided by price of goods in 2000 times quantity of the goods in 2006, and this will cancel each other, and again we will have this. and these two is equal to each other. That's why to calculate this, we divide CPI of 2000 by CPI of 2006 and multiply it with 100. So CPI of 2000 is equal to 50 and CPI of 2006 is equal to 210, and we multiplied 100 and we found it is equal to 23.80. And for 2001, we will divide 2001 CPI by 2006 CPI and multiply it with 100. So 2001 CPI is 75. 75 divided by 2010 times 100, it is equal to 35 times 71. If you don't understand, you can come to the office hours and I will explain it there too. It can be a little tricky, so I can explain it to you again if you don't understand. And the D part asks us, is the inflation rate affected when you change the base year? So let's calculate inflation for 2001 again when the base year is 2006. So we subtract 2000 CPI out of 2001 CPI and divide it by 2000 CPI and multiply it with 100. So again, it is 50%. It was 50% when we use 2002 as base year, so there is no change. So we understand that changing the base year has no effect on the inflation rate. So let me clear this up and show you the other question. So the option E asks us, suppose your disposable income was $3,000 in 2003 and 3,600 in 2007. How would you determine which year was the better? So I'm sorry, let me get that. So how we calculate that? So we can calculate inflation from 2003 to 2007 with using this information of the CPI. So 2007 CPI is 220 and 2003 CPI is 140. So we subtract 2004 2003's CPI out of 2007 and divide it by 2003 CPI and multiply it with 100. So we found out the inflation is 57.40%. And if we multiply it 3,000, because we have 3,000 income in 2003, we will find that it will be equal to 4,714.2. So if disposable income is 4,714.2 in 2007, 2003 and 2007 will have the same purchasing power, but the disposable income in 2007 is 3,060. So we can say that 2003 is better than 2007 because it is higher. So let's look at the question 3. So it gives us the information from 2080 for a tiny island nation of Carousel, and when supply of this nation is equal to 600 million and price level is 2.5, velocity of the money is 4, and it's says use the quantity theory of money to answer the following questions. The option E says what is the value of real output income in 2018. So we need to use the quantity of money, and what was that? It is this one. What does it mean? Money supply times velocity of money is equal to real output times price level. So we know everything except the real output, and it asks us what is the real output. So the money supply was 600 million. So 600 million times velocity of money, which is 4, is equal to price level 2.5 times real output. And if you calculate, you will find that real output is equal to 960. And let me make it more bigger. Okay. And it asks us what is the value of nominal output income in 2080. Nominal output is equal to price level times real output. So it basically this is equal to nominal output. So we just found real output and we already know the price level. So if you multiply it price level with real output, you will find 2,400. It is equal to nominal output. And if real output doubled, by how much money will the money supply need to change? So if real output doubles, we know that real output will be, if it doubles, it will be equal to this, because it was 960, and if it doubles, it will be equal to this. So it has cost the money supply. So money supply we don't know. Velocity of money was 4, and price level was 2.5. So we wrote the new real output amount. So the new money supply is equal to 1,200. So it was before 600. So it needs to be doubled when real output doubled. So what happens if the money supply increases more rapidly than the real output? It means there will be an inflation if money supply increases faster than the real output. And if the annual GDP growth rate is 8% in Curacao, by how much will the money supply need to change in 2019? And if the annual GDP rate is 6% in Curacao, the nominal GDP will be, we know the nominal output in 2018 was 204,000. So let me go back. So the nominal GDP in 2018 was this, was 2,400. So if the annual GDP rate was 8%, we will multiply the rate with the nominal GDP rate in 2018, and we will find that it is the nominal GDP in 2019 is equal to 2,592, and it has cost the money supply. So nominal GDP, we said that it is equal to price level times real output. So we know the nominal GDP and we know the velocity of the money. So it has cost the money supply. So if you divide 2,592 by 4, you will find the new money supply in 2019. So it was 600 in 2018, and it needs to be changed by 8% to be equal to 648. So the question is, cost money supply, much should money supply change? It is 8%. Let me write it like this. Let me write it this. So it is equal to this. Or you can say that the nominal GDP increased by 8%. So this needs to be increased by 8% too, and velocity of money is constant. So we can say that directly that it needs to be increased by 8%, but it will be better for you to solve it like this. It is more clear, I guess. So I wrote it wrong. This will be question 4. In each of the following cases, classify the person as cyclical unemployed or structural unemployed. So Roberto lost his job as an assembly line worker due to recession. If you saw the word recession, you can easily find that this is a cyclical unemployed person. So Damiona lost his job as a welder due to introduction of robotic welding machine. It's a structural unemployed. So Damiona's abilities is not enough anymore. Robotic welding machines ability to fulfill the job is better, so they remove Damiano. And Carmen lost his job as a copywriter in a television channel since web-based advertising has drawn copywriters away from television advertising. It is again structural unemployed because Carmen's abilities is not enough anymore. And Flor is an interior architect. She's laid off during a recession until the demand for decoration picks up. Again, you see the word recession, you can say it is cyclical unemployment. Okay, the question 5. It gives us a table that contains the information of labor statistic for a certain year. The first part asks us find the labor force. Labor force is equal to the number of employed and unemployed people. So if we sum these numbers, we will find out these numbers. We will find out the labor force. And the second question asks us to find the number of discouraged workers. Discouraged workers is not in the labor force. So if we subtract labor force out of adult population able and want to work, we will find the number of discouraged people. For in this example, adult population able and want to work is 11 million, and the labor force is equal to 10,500,000. So if we subtract labor force out of adult population able and want to work, we will find discouraged workers. And the third part asks us calculate the labor force participation rate. We use the formula that labor force, labor force and divided by adult population when we want to find labor force participation rate. So the labor force was this. Let me use another color. Was this? I'm sorry. Was this? Why I cannot use the pen? Okay. Was this? And the adult population is this. So if you divide labor force by adult population, it is 70%. Let me clear this up. And it asks us calculate the unemployment rate. We use this formula, unemployed number of unemployed people. Let me write this. People. I'm sorry, I'm having some troubles with this. Let me write it again. Okay, number of unemployed people. Okay, divided by labor force. So the question gives us number of unemployed people, and we found the labor force. So if you divide number of unemployed people by labor force, you will find that 14.3% is the unemployment rate. So let's look at the multiple choice question 1. It asks us if the negative GDP gap were equal to 4% of the potential GDP. Okun's law suggests that the actual GDP rate will exceed the natural rate of unemployment by what percent? So Okun's law is this. So question gives us that this is equal to 4%. And it asks us what is this part? What is actual unemployment rate minus natural rate of unemployment? And we know this parameter is equal to 2. So 4%, negative 4% is equal to minus 2 times actual unemployment rate minus natural rate of unemployment. So if you divide negative 4% by negative 2, you will find 2%. So the actual unemployment rate minus natural rate of unemployment is equal to 2%. So if the natural rate of unemployment was 6%, which is U star, and current unemployment rate was 10%, which is U, and the potential GDP was $4,000 million. And then according to Okun's law, the economy will sacrifice. So let's use this formula again. I will write it and show you guys. So I put the information that we know in the formula. So it asks us what is the amount that economy will have sacrificed. It is equal to this part. So if you do the calculation, you will find that I minus 4,000 is equal to minus 320 million. So it is not produced in the economy, so economy will have sacrifice, because this is potential output and this is the actual amount. So it is this amount is not produced. Let's clear this up. So which of the following is not a consequence of hyperinflation? So if you look at the other options, you will find that they are consequences of hyperinflation, but money's function as a medium of exchange is enhanced, is not a consequence of hyperinflation. So according to the quantity theory of money, if the money supply grows at 20% and real GDP grows at 5%, then the inflation rate will be. So we know from the quantity theory of money, growth rate of money supply plus growth rate of velocity of money is equal to inflation rate plus growth rate of output. Since the velocity of money constant, we can easily delete this, and growth rate of the money supply is equal to inflation rate plus growth rate of the output. So growth rate of the money supply was 20% and is equal to inflation rate plus 5%. So the inflation rate is equal to 15%. Let's look at the fifth question. According to the quantity of money, deflation will occur if money supply grows at a slower rate than the GDP, and inflation will occur if money supply grows at a higher rate than the real GDP. And the quantity of money assumes that the velocity of money is constant. The quantity theory of money seeks to explain the connection between money and prices. The quantity theory of money implies that the price level will be stable when the growth rate of money supply equals the growth rate of the real GDP. So let me vote the. Okay. So it says theory of money implies the price level will be stable, no inflation or deflation. So there is no inflation, it is zero. I'm sorry, let me. Okay. Okay, there is no inflation. I'm deleting this. And velocity, growth rate of velocity of money is constant, so I'm deleting this too. So growth rate of the money supply equal to growth rate of output. So real growth rate of output means the real GDP. So the option D is the correct one. According to the quantity theory of money, if the money supply grows at 6%, real GDP grows at 2%, and the velocity of money constant, then the inflation rate will be, we wrote the formula just now. This was the formula. So we said the growth rate of velocity money is constant, so I'm deleting this. If, let me use another. Okay, if the money supply grows at 6%, which is equal to inflation rates plus real GDP grows at 2%, so inflation rate is equal to 4%. So 4% is the correct answer. The velocity of money is defined as the average number of times each dollar is used to purchase goods and services. And the curve showing the short run relationship between the unemployment rate and the inflation rate is called Phillips curve. And this is a Phillips curves example. Refer to the figure above. The shifts show in the short run and long run Phillips curves between period 1 and period 2 could be explained by, so you see the short run Phillips curves shift to the right, and long run Phillips curve also shift to the right. So there is a This shows the y axis is inflation rate and x axis the unemployment rate. So because both short run and long run Phillips curve shift to the right, the inflation rate didn't change, but the unemployment rate increases from 5.5% to 6.8%. So there is an increase in the nature rate of unemployment from 5.5 to 6.8. Let's look at the 15th question. The price level in the economy between 2016 and 2017 rose from 100 to 105. Between 2017 and 2018, the price level rose from 105 to 110.25. How does this short run Phillips curve predict the unemployment rate will change as a result? The unemployment rate will not change since there is no change in the rate of inflation. So it's a tricky question. And the last question is if the people assume that future rates of inflation will follow the pattern of inflation rates in the past, they are said to have adaptive expectation because they think of the experiences they have in the past. So when they have these kinds of expectations, they are called adaptive expectations. So these are all the questions. If you don't understand any of the answers or questions, you can always come to the office hours or you can always send an email. I hope all the answers were clear. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.